No. Come where you ass!
You waited right until we hit it.
Well, good, because we're starting the intro now, so it doesn't
Magic of editing.
Just a second when it starts. Oh, screw it.
Our
Hello,
upbeat intro. Welcome to Beyond the Rift, guys.
It's Christmassy, so we want to put you to sleep before we start.
It is Christmas time again. We have snow. We have creepy Santa and whatever that thing is over there.
Yes. Xblanque.
Xblanque.
Xblanque, because it is the end of the world in about 2-3 hours.
2 or 3 hours,
So,
Eastern time.
We want to make sure that Xblanque was here to watch over us while we all end the world in a very Mayan fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know,
You mean by stoning other people to death?
Right, exactly.
Right,
and cutting off their
exactly.
heads and putting them on pedestals and
Sure.
rolling them down hills and playing soccer with them, too. Or football, whichever country you're from. So, I am your host, DeamonMachine. This is my co-host, Revel.
Yo.
And today we are joined by Xblanque from Aspect Gaming, not Xblanque Gaming. Starmuse from Procore. Cooper, who runs the Smite network. Jerbie from Juice Gaming and or Blight Gaming, whichever you like to call it. And then Sprayyarn from Bipolar Method, even though he is just bipolar, so we
He's
left
just
it like
bipolar
that.
today, so it'll be all right.
Fantastical. We have so much to talk about that
It's
going
more
to be
or
a
less
long
on one topic.
It's
But
yeah,
a really, really important topic.
yeah, like what is this game going to be?
Yes.
That is mostly the topic of today. Is they're making so many different decisions on how they're going to change this game that everybody's head's exploding.
Yes.
I wasn't
Check
on
the forums.
I wasn't on the public test server the past 2 days, and it's that what I played a week ago on the public test server is just totally gone.
Yep.
So
Totally gone. Well, in spirit, it's not completely gone. It's just mostly gone. It's like, having part of your soul ripped out. It's still partially there.
Right.
Right,
So
just like
we'll
that.
be, of course, taking calls as the show progresses, and if you would like to do that, you can, of course, call us on Skype at Perfect Rain. See, we can both do it now because we shortened it.
Yeah.
And other than that, we would like to hand it over to our guests who have been playing on the PTS a lot more than we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, who would like to go first with basically what the hell is happening?
I can start.
I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll start. Well, I've played some couple of games today,
Uh-huh.
and from my experience, it's kind of a mix between the first PTS and the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Sure.
I'm actually not really how to say it, but I feel like it has potential. It might have, but at the moment it's too imbalanced to actually be able to
Tell.
see how well it might work out in the end. That would be my
Interesting.
opinion.
For people that don't know what they're doing exactly, they're basically loading in a bunch of different systems on a daily basis, or at least so far, on what they should do system-wise, whether it should be item-based, stat-based, a mixture of the both, and they're not giving a lot of time to test, but they're just loading them in. And then after they do these tests, they're going to be releasing a survey or something to the community to let them decide which system they like best. So that's basically the route that they're trying to go right now. Nothing's permanent, but just in case anybody didn't get a chance to actually play or understand what they're doing, that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, so don't be frightened if you haven't had a chance to play the previous patch that's now changed, because
It's
It's-
gone.
it's changing so fast that it'll all get worked out, and then we'll have something more stable to play on, of course. Because what a lot of people don't understand right now is that we're still in beta, and they're complaining about the beta in the beta. It's like people are absolutely going crazy for what they're testing, and that they've even said that they might go with this, they might not. It's it's very up in the air at the moment. So they will look for our feedback before they put any of this stuff, to be permanent. And even if they go with all these vast changes and they do it for a month and all we do is just complain and complain and they see their user base dropping, they're going to change it because they don't want you to not play the game.
Yes.
So, you
I
know.
wouldn't call this game a beta game anymore. Like, now it's finally a beta, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It has been, for a long time, it has been like a full game, but it's first dispatch that I feel like this game is actually in a beta stage. And at the moment, this game should not be released at all. It's just, they have so much to fix.
Yes. And that's an understatement.
So, Jerbie, what do you...
It's not balanced at all.
No, it's not even slightly balanced. Jerbie, what do you think of the new patch?
Yeah, what are your opinions on everything that's been going on these past week or so?
I have too many opinions.
Just one really strong one.
I've said a lot of them. You know, whether it be it's kind of like what you said. It's a beta within a beta. So leave it lie. Just stop bitching. And a lot of people that come in my stream all the time, they just say, "Well, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks." Well, and I kind of got pissed off today because I said, "Well, why does it suck?" And a lot of people, they kind of have the mentality that I'm backing high res or whatever the case may be, and I'm one of the strongest advocates of against high res in every single thing that I do. I mean, that's just part of it.
I hate.
But at the same time, it's testing. And say for example they come up with something revolutionary, and that changes the whole style of every single MOBA out there. Then they did it. Now, are they likely to do it? Who knows? I'm not expecting it, but what if? So it's just one of those things like, just let them run while it's in a beta. But at the same time, like going into it though, I guess I'm still more of a fan of the first PTS that they had, because in my mind, after playing MOBAs for damn near a decade now,
yeah,
I'm so used to the parameters of items.
Yep. Yeah.
You buy the items, you learn itemization, and then as heroes come out, then you learn the hero skill sets. But it's just so foreign to me to go into this new PTS and say to myself, okay, well now I got to treat it like a Dungeons and Dragons game, and allocate my stats as I need be.
Sure.
And it's just it's. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it, and I know it's going into the live version in a smaller form. I know they're keeping items, but they're releasing stat allocation too. But I still can't get there in my mind, at least.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It is a leap. Like when I first jumped from the original PTS stuff and then to the one that was all items, it just felt so wrong.
You mean all stats?
I'm like, yeah, all stats. Sorry, all stats. It just felt so wrong. Like this is not a MOBA. What is this?
God.
But
oh God! Don't start that argument, please.
yes. All right, I'll start that argument, but it doesn't matter because obviously, if they wanted a game just like everything else, they already have some. I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
My hope and my guess is that they're throwing this stuff out there to see how this will work in the MOBA setting. Because it'd be really interesting just to be able to add on stats with items. Items being a much better deal, but if you just need some stat, might be worth it.
So I just read, and I apologize for
Go
keeping
for
on the
it.
subject.
No.
I just read that Catixia said it's incredibly innovative for the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not a new genre, and it's not innovative. The idea for stat allocation has been out since
Dota.
since 70 something when they came out with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
I mean that's just it.
Yeah.
You can't look at it like that. They had an idea of a previous different genre and try to implement it into this genre. Now, can it be successful?
Maybe.
Who knows? But it's the initial reaction of there's a lot of negativity to it on a massive base. And this, for once, didn't come from top down. And what I mean by top down is the competitive players didn't say, well, this sucks, and then all of a sudden everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
This was just, nobody's... It's not a bad patch. It's not that that people aren't having fun, but not having as much fun.
Yeah. And somebody said it's innovative for MOBAs, but not so much because, I mean, Dota runs this like you can level up your stats, but it's usually with levels versus money. Right. Don't everybody jump at once.
I don't play Dota, so.
Oh.
What were you saying, Stermies?
Go, Stermies?
It's not
I was
really
just
the
saying,
same thing,
right.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's the closest analogy we can get that's a MOBA that has, you know, you can level up your charisma.
Yeah.
Well, you level your stats, but at the same time, if you level your stats, you will not level up your spells.
Mm-hmm.
So that will not be very beneficial.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, it's not the same thing. It's in Han or Dota, you level your stats last thing in the game,
Yeah.
basically.
Yep. It's been so long since I played Dota that. Basically that. So, then, Sturmies, what are you thinking about all this fun time? Since you've gotten a chance to play on all of it, too.
Yeah, for a few hours I was playing it today. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with them trying to make a new system for it. But the way I'm seeing it right now is it's not really balanced, so it's really hard to get like a good opinion on how it would be if it is balanced. I'm always up for them trying to change the game into something different from other MOBAs. I mean, I've been playing MOBAs since pretty much I started playing Warcraft way back when, and like, I'm always up for a new change for it. It's just the balance that is worrying me right now.
So
But
it's
other
not
than
so
that-
much the changes itself. It's that will they be able to balance them in the end? Is the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
That
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of the arguments from people on the forums specifically. Is that this game will never be balanced if you do this.
Yeah, I see the balance things, and if they went a like pure stat allocation, balance would be really difficult because without something to bring something in as a package for a god, like so items almost work like a discount package for a set of skills. So without something like that, it's going to be really hard to set cost priorities for things that have vastly different priorities for different gods. On the plus side, though, you could build a tanky Ao Kuang just as easily as a Ymir could build tanky. There isn't any,
Yeah.
negative stuff. Like, you don't see a lot of MP5 tank items, but you could just throw a little in there, and hey, now you have a tanky guy who can do magic and not die, but doesn't do anything if you really wanted to.
I don't necessarily see that as a good thing either.
That takes away the god role, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry
If you
for
have
breaking you up.
everyone-
No, that's fine.
No, please do.
That's
like
what I
the
was,
point.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you would break in with that. So go for it.
Take it away, then.
Exelantress.
You opened yourself up.
From
Run
what
with
you
it.
were saying, it almost takes away, like, okay, this god is now an AP god, an AP range, or this guy is a melee bruiser instead of just every single thing possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could take Wukong with his amount of damage he could do with his 2, 3, and jump, and just give him a bunch of health and armor, and he won't die at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I was playing, and I was playing a game like, oh, well, let's try build a tanky magic user. No problem. So different, so interesting. I mean, it's nice to be able to do that, but on the same side, it kind of mucks with the different gods and how they work together, as well as like some of the gods that got certain passives that are now items, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think another thing to keep in mind too is going into the stat allocation PTS. You look at Hell, for example. Hell is a very, very, very strong package going into late game, mid to late game.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person in the game can agree. Obviously, you have your counters and your divine runes, everything of the sort.
Sure.
But the problem is that when you go with stat allocation, individual stat allocation, basically what you do is you cut out the middleman that items have always been. Items have always been the great equalizer. In that, in items, you're not always going to get the stats that you need. That are the prime stats that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a stat that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of have that balancing. So, for example, on live with Hill, you can get Breastplate of Valor. Breastplate of Valor has physical protection and cooldown reduction, but it has plus mana, and you don't really need that. But on the PTS, I can literally, I think it was the 7-minute mark, I can have 35% cooldown reduction, and then from there, all of a sudden, I'm building, more tank, more magic power, and then by the end of it, I'm focusing on focus, and I just become this unkillable god because I've got 35% cooldown reduction, just because I built it right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just trying to bash on hell. It's just the same can be said for any single god. Is that you can literally min max with every single god, and it shouldn't be about min maxing. And obviously the biggest change in the patch is that it's an action reaction system. There's 17 stats on the board. You see the enemy buy one of those 17 stats, and you're able to counter it by buying another stat, but you can't see that, so you can't get a true test and feel of how this patch goes. Or this PTS goes, because you're not getting the reaction part of it. You're only seeing the four.
Yeah. You basically can't see the items they're buying.
Right. You can't react to it. So you can't. So the general populace says to themselves, "Well, okay, well, I'm going to sit here and buy and buy and buy. I don't really know what the hell I'm going for." But at the same time, you're not able to really get a grasp on why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'm playing PvP on WoW.
Yeah.
I bring in MMORPG. I played that for a long time.
Sure.
Playing the PTS right now, it's almost like I'm playing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go into an arena and bam, try and kill people and not know what they're buying or what they have as gear.
Yeah.
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 As far as I understand, I mean, it's really a moot point, but as far as I understand, there was or is a UI area where you can see what stats the other god has. It just wasn't implemented, as far as I understand. But
interesting.
It still doesn't matter, because it's still going to be really, really difficult to sit there and look at all the stats that they're building while trying to figure out what stats counter which. And I mean, like Jerb said, if you can have them all, you're really not countering anything. You're just trying to max them all out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and the advantage thing
If I may
about...
say something about that.
Oh, go for it.
Go ahead.
About the whole min-maxing thing, and about you can't see the enemy that they build, how are they... Like, it will also affect the what's it called? When you stream a game and you have people watching, and let's say Lionheart is streaming on the high res, and he's showcasing the finals between, let's say, BM and US Gaming, and he has no idea about what anyone builds in regards of AD or AP. He has no idea.
Yeah, it's not spectator friendly.
Yeah, it's not at all.
It's not spectator friendly at all.
Are you trying to say I'm not psychic?
Ah, there's Lionheart.
Lionheart.
It's Lionheart.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Just jump in like that.
Yeah.
Then be quiet. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Totally troll us.
Yeah. I mean, I will go on the record and say I don't think Lionheart is psychic.
No, I don't think so either.
You haven't seen my skills.
That's true.
I think the lack of hair makes it that way, though.
Yes, it makes it more receptive to
Telepathy.
telepathic frequencies. Is the
Petty
best way of
guesses
putting it.
every game that I'm going to play Ares.
No, but that's a good point, because the new system with stats is definitely not spectator friendly.
No.
But it provides, I think, other benefits, and you guys
Sure.
have talked about some of them.
What else you got for us?
But as far as spectator mode goes, it's obviously not spectator friendly. And I honestly don't know, with how many stats there are, how you could make it spectator friendly without cluttering the screen more than it's already cluttered.
Yeah.
And how to tell other
Numbers
people
everywhere.
or let other people know what kind of things people are buying if everything's
You're talking
a
about the
stat.
players in game.
Or the
Yeah.
players in game, or the people, say you're spectating, you're listening to you. I mean, if you want to say he got something like Voidstone or something, people generally have an idea of what that does. And
Right.
now if you wanted to convey the same thing it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine how exciting that shit would be.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going back to base. He's looking at the stat page. He's about a stat. I don't know what stat it is, but okay, let's go back to. Oh, then we have to go back to base. Find another stat. It just.
On a slight spectator mode complaint, Lionheart, are you not a fan of the mouse nerf that they did with the turn speed?
You know, I haven't really noticed it, to be honest. I only spectated one game on the client, but it seemed fine to me. The problem right now with spectator, while we're on the topic, is if you really pay attention to games when people are casting, and it's not just other people. I'm not just talking about other people. I'm talking about myself as well. And I lower my sensitivity all the way down to 5, the camera still looks jerky. It's very, very jerky when you're covering the action. And that needs to be smoothed out. So I don't know if I haven't really followed a full Conquest game. I only followed a joust between Anatoly and Shing. So I don't actually know how it would play out in Conquest when there's team fights and I have to do more mouse movement. But as far as jousting, it didn't seem to be a problem to me.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be.
Yeah, because it was like they basically took the camera's turn speed and cut it in like an 1/8. And so you have to do this to get a 180 turn or something like that, which I was not a fan
they've
of.
done some interesting things with Spectator. It's slowly developing, but I'm kind of glad that it's on the back burner and not on the front of their priority list because they're doing so much else right now.
With
those
everything
things
else they're
really
doing. Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, we can deal with spectator mode as long as they fix the rest of the stuff and make it workable. It's
right.
I think at the point right now, it's just there's so much going on. Everybody's A, confused as hell, and B, there's that innate scared of change that people don't like. Because, like, people like, for instance, Jerbie, how long have you spent learning all the items, learning exactly how much they affected things? And so now that they've done this new stat thing, it's going to completely throw off your game. Like, the minute they implement it, you're going to have to spend hours relearning everything.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't mind that. I love the learning process of it. I love the theory crafting part of it. And albeit, that's not going to be everybody's opinion, obviously, when you've dedicated a lot of time. But part of being a competitive player is, adaptation. If you can't do it, then you're not going to be in the scene very long.
Right.
And, going into it, I love it, that part of it. I loved the past PTS when you get all these new items, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell to go, when to go, how to go, whatever the case may be. But I just honestly wasn't having a lot of fun on this PTS. And I think that's what my final opinion comes down to, is not that I think it's the worst thing in the world. I just think it was unfun to me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the most important stat that we can gather, is if it's not fun, people aren't going to play it, and we're not going to have a sizable community. That's kind
I do love the map change, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
the map change was awesome. The green buff and shield buff out. Oh, my God. So much better.
Yeah.
In this newest one, the newest one, did they switch blue and red yet?
I'm not too sure, but I was suggesting that, too.
Wait, what?
Put blue...
Put blue in the middle and
red
red
is in
on the
mid,
side.
And have red on the side lanes.
Talking about the buffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the idea. Because with the red buff in the middle, it was weird. Because on the side lanes, whoever got blue buff was the lane dominant lane.
Yeah.
And so, granted, it did lead for a lot of interesting contention at the beginning of the game, but you don't want to favor one side with it being on their side. I don't know. It all leads to strategy.
I don't really see how you will have that mid, though. That wouldn't be very fun at all.
Why do you say that?
Well, because mid's going to end up stalemating is what's going to happen for clearing and just going back under tower.
It's going to be like hell and mid is going to stalemate the lane all day.
Who's stalemating why? In mid?
If we switched red and blue, we put blue in middle and put red on the outside, it would stalemate mid.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
That's
thing.
Not going to stalemate anything.
Here's the thing.
But still, it will stalemate even more, I think.
What did you say, Lionheart? Go ahead, Lionheart.
Yeah, sorry.
Moving blue buff and red buff, switching their position, really is just something that's in the mind of the players. Would change where to put blue buff. It doesn't actually need to change where blue buff goes at all, right? I mean, we had a meta for a very long time where players would go to blue buff where it's currently located now and put that buff onto middle lane. We also saw And it's not going to make it safe from being contended either, because we also saw when yellow buff was the dominant buff, protection buff, which of course has been removed from the game, people were more than happy to contest at that location as well. So it's really just kind of in the head of the players thing, as far as where the buff's located and who gets the buff. Really, that's just something that we as a community are able to set via meta. But I don't think the location of it is necessarily. I mean, that's just like a psychological thing. It's not really going to affect balance as much as it is player decisions and players realizing that, hey, if I have it in the side lane, I'm going to win. Maybe now, if I have it in middle, I'm going to win. Maybe I want it in middle. I mean, it's just us deciding where we want to put that buff.
And since there's no outside lane, you don't have to cross
the lane to get it.
Yeah. You don't have to cross over line of sight, basically saying, "Hi, I'm over here."
Yeah.
And not only that, but it doesn't, just because it's in a different position, especially if it's on the same side, it doesn't necessarily say mid has to grab it either. If they weren't grabbing it before as a necessity, I don't see why they would start grabbing it now as a necessity. They'd still give it to that side lane and then just cross over and still be there before creep spawn. Or at least make it when they meet.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
If
Spray.
you think of it this way, imagine hell mid with the blue buff now, all time. It's gonna be.
It doesn't change anything.
It's just gonna be more anti-fun.
But she can do that now, can't she?
She could, even without blue buff, she could still, if you're saying like,
Well,
stalemate
all
a
I gotta
lane.
pick-
Well, while we
all I
let
gotta
the
do is buy
yeah.
Doom Orb and mana pots, and I've got unlimited mana. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not even that. Go tier 2 boots and then mana pots. I mean,
Yeah, because the
But I
boots
mean,
have
if
mana
the hell
for 5 on
wanted
them
to just stalemate the lane based upon blue, then she would just go grab blue at the start. And then, I mean, if that was the strategy, everyone would just give hell blue
Yeah.
at the start and then make her go mid.
Yeah, I mean, they would just do, like you were saying earlier, with the...
Granted, it would make it more accessible, where once they hit level 6, 5, 6, they could get it on their own. But I don't think it would necessarily stalemate it anymore.
So anyway, I think that's enough roundabout on the buff. What other, like, as we've noticed, thanks to Guitarist, we have what Eras had wrote at 4 o'clock today. In the next patch, we plan to have the system that will go live after bug fixes and cleanups. So here's a list of the things that are going to be available for testing on the PTS by Friday morning, tomorrow morning when the world is ending.
The world is ending all day.
Yes.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Right. So
you have at least several hours probably wherever you are to test it before you all die.
Right.
All right.
Got it.
Okay.
Items that are currently in live will only have a small change to them where needed, which include adding the focus stat to utility and magic items. Why'd you have to stare at me like that? I saw you out of the corner of my eye and it totally screwed me up. God, you're a jerk.
Dude.
Just
keep reading.
We will keep the new starter items at their prices at 750 gold. Active items will no longer have passives, but will be very cheap, probably 100 gold. About 10 new items will be added to the game. Items will keep the current format of 3 tiers and upgrades. Stats will be available for purchase, but they will not be competitive in price to the items. They should be only used to pad in some stats if you are willing to pay high premium for them.
Like MP5s.
Right.
I can imagine.
You know, basically, I would say once you've gotten a full build, like in Dota, when you've gotten a full build and you're like, I have 5,000 gold left over because we're still going, you know, then you can continue it on. And besides the item systems, most of the other changes will stay in as well, including the new map, option for cell shading, yay.
Yay.
Match of the day, everybody loves, Xblanque, and a new joust map. How many joust maps do we need?
5.
5?
5 joust maps.
Okay, got it.
That seems reasonable to me.
That seems to be the most reasonable of it all. Would anybody argue that? Like, it seems to be a very well thought out patch to go on the live server.
10 new items. That's all I have to say. Last time we added new items, really terrible things
Or it'll be
happened.
tested on the PTS server by Friday morning. So they're not doing a patch for the live tomorrow. They're doing
Something to remember about the new items that were added last time, right on the very first PTS, is that a lot of those items weren't functioning as intended, right?
Yeah.
Like the Demented doll or whatever the hell that thing was called
Dementor's
was
doll.
proccing way more than they ever intended for it to by design. So some of the items that were really strong were just because of bugs. Now, I'm not saying there won't be bugs this time.
Oh, yeah.
There could be, and then you have really strong items. What can you do?
Yeah.
But by design, those items weren't necessarily going to be as strong as they actually were. They were just not functioning correctly.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
Starmies?
Go ahead.
Physical mark OP.
Remember, Starmies, you and your item that
All
could
those things.
sustain for hours.
Yeah, last week this time Sturmies was like, yeah, I'm immune to minions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous. First day of the patch, I jousted Sparks, and I was just tanking creeps all day.
Not taking any
So
damage.
broken.
It just said
Yeah,
immune.
Yeah,
It was good.
which they did
That's
fix.
immune.
Yeah.
They did change it. So
Yay.
I think it'll be interesting. The cell shading was interesting. I was like, huh.
At first, I thought my monitor was broken, or that something broke, because I was like, it's kind of fuzzy. The hell? Is my resolution turned all the way up? So don't freak out when that happens.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
and it looks really, really different.
Yeah. I do like it, though.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I think they need to do a little, if they're going to go that route, they need to do a little optimizations on it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
A little bug
in
fix.
time.
A little bug fix that I found, or a workaround, I guess, is when I played on the PTS and then I went back to play on live, I had like a black behind me, and it kind of like crept over, like you had this cone of color, and then everything from here back was black. The way to fix that is to just go through and reset all of your settings and turn everything, like, what it changes is for some reason when you go into the PTS, it would change your regular client settings, so you'd have to go and manually select your texture on high or your whatever else on high, and then it fixes it. So that's just something that some people may not have tried yet. If that is, I hope that helped.
Yep, Mystical Mark.
Not to go back to one previous topic, but the cell shading, is that like the Borderlands look you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's going to be an option that you can turn on or off.
Yeah, on by default.
On by default.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
you can turn it off, but it's going to be on. So whenever you log in, that's what it's going to look like.
So, do you guys, I want to ask, do you guys like the graphics, or do you think that there's something they should really up with the graphics? Because they are running on the Unreal Engine. I mean, they can go fucking nuts, basically. I mean, they could make it look really good.
They've been improving at a pretty good pace, in my opinion.
One thing I wanted was footsteps, like little foot, so it looks like you actually walked on the ground. It would make for interesting gameplay because you could be like, I'm tracking somebody. Hold on. Especially if they all had different footprints, like Ymir has his large foot.
Tonto Demon.
What?
Dude, that could be a god's passive. He can see the footprints of everyone else. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like,
There you go, high res.
yeah, exactly.
That one hasn't been done before, as far as I know. You can see where everybody's been. That won't.
And like you can look down at it and it tells you who it was and how long ago they were there.
That won't kill your database at all. I promise.
Yes, yes. So, what topics do you guys want to discuss?
Yeah,
I mean,
what do
like,
you guys got before we move on? Anything you guys want to talk about? Anything?
Xblanque.
Xblanque.
Yes.
Cool. That's next anyway.
Yes, it
So,
is.
Physical mark?
Mystical Mark. Who wants to talk about Mystical Mark?
Nah, I don't know.
I think a big change is being able to see through walls.
Oh,
I love
yes.
that. Yeah.
I love that.
The
Yes.
red and blue, is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, because it actually, when you see somebody like in the public server, you see their picture, but you don't know like how close you are to
Mhm.
that person. And now it's like, oh, this person's right behind this wall, instead of like way over across the map.
Yeah,
Way
this
over
one's
yonder.
right behind the wall, and they're staring right where I should be, and they're raw. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's also epically useful for the competitive teams because they can see what their friends are doing over the wall that they're about to jump over to get into the battle. They don't know if they're already in the battle, if they're running around, what they're casting. So with the new, like, you know, method of being able to see them, you can see that Jerbie as hell is casting heal and doing all this stuff over there. So obviously he's in a fight, you know, and so you can also see what the other gods are doing, that they just casted his ult. You know, Baka's running around chomping things. So you know that if you jump in there, you'll be okay from his ult because it should be off by the time it gets there, and blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah, there was a situation where we were doing a practice, a scrim or tournament, one of the case, and Harvest. I was at my shield buff. I knew the Wukong and the enemy team had leapt over the wall into my shield buff. I knew he had done that, but because, and this was on live too, but then Harv comes up later on, and I didn't call it out. I did not call it out. I had vision the entire time. Like I saw it, but had that system been in place where you could see like the blue outline or whatever, he would have been able to see Wukong leap over and know that he didn't have his leap up. But at the same time, I asked Harv, why didn't you ult that Wukong? And that Wukong ended up getting away. He said, well, he was going to leap away anyway. And I said, well, no, he didn't. He didn't have it on cooldown. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm so used to PTS where you can see, what I'm seeing that I just didn't say anything. But that's one of the aspects I'm looking forward to is like being able to see, like you said, the cooldowns.
Yep.
Yeah.
See what they just cast, etc.
And I will say it is also nice sometimes to watch your team or the enemy team run down one other little player.
Yeah.
And we'll just watch.
You can just see the whole thing through the wall, and it makes it entertaining. Makes it more entertaining than running and seeing a bunch of pictures. For the fun aspect of the game, like Jerbie was talking about.
That whole fun.
It
thing.
makes running for 5 seconds or 5 minutes to catch up. At least you can see what they're doing and have a good time enjoying that.
Yeah.
Keep up. But it does make Odin extremely powerful. Like, as Odin, when I was playing with him the first time on there, Cooper and I thought that there was a bug in the game that for some reason I could see everybody all the time. Like, we could not get ganked because it's like, there's a giant Ymir behind that wall versus usually it would just be a little nameplate. And you don't know if it's there or way across the map. But he's standing right there. He's staring at me. We're not going over there. Just what are you doing there, Ymir? And
I was so confused. I didn't even understand.
we were like, this totally does not seem to be working right. And then we realized I was playing Odin, and then it occurred to us.
Yeah.
So it was excellent.
So, Xblanque.
Yes. So back to Xblanque.
Xblanque.
So who watched the video? Because I was doing an alignment on a car like I always do. Whenever Hi-Rez releases something that's like, big event, you should come and watch. I always have to do an alignment on a car.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh, it is on YouTube now?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Cool.
Well,
The video was okay. I mean, it's the one thing I'll say about the videos that I've noticed recently of the highlights is that the highlighting of the abilities is really good, but then when you see like the in-game footage to kind of see the usefulness, it's usually like a lot of like people out of position kind of plays.
Yeah.
Not really people like this is what this person could do, and like like the laning phase, like how do you start the lane? Like it's just kind of like random like. You're already big, and you just kind of ran in and double killed. So it's hard to evaluate from that. But the ability set itself looks solid. The passive sounds really good. I think it's the longest stun in the game now.
Wow.
With the ultimate. If you build focus, it's a 3-second stun. So that's pretty sweet, I think. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna play out in the game.
I love the fact that it's the first basically global ultimate that you can use. I mean, Thor had his teleport or flying thing towards an enemy, but this is an actual, like, you have to do something in the other part of the map, otherwise this ultimate's going to take effect on you. And I really like that.
I think they gave, I don't know, the idea of the ultimate just screams out, and I hate even use this word, but OP. I think it would be fine with global damage, global vision, global disorient, whatever the case may be. But when you implement a global stun, that I think of the different combinations that you can do with that, and it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of different mechanics in one ultimate too. He gains 2 buffs, he gains a stun, and he gains basically a blind on the enemy team. It's not a full blind, but it's a very condensed vision. So it's just a lot of different mechanics in one package.
Well, I'm just thinking about it in a sense of a combo. Like, say, for example, my teammate says, okay, I'm getting ready to ult with my Wukong ultimate. Pop your stuff, and you're mid Xblanque, and you pop your ultimate, and the world goes dark, and then all of a sudden, Wukong ults on top of you. So you're moving, and then the Guan Yu ult, and then your ult pops up, and then all of a sudden that stun hits, and now all of a sudden you've had this huge CC train, and you're not even over there.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's like you don't even need to get that stun off. It's just the darkness, and I mean, for the people that are in your lane, you also gain those 2 buffs. So it's just overall a really, really big package in one skill.
Yep, we're watching the video right now.
Yep, we have it up on the stream. People can't hear it.
Can't hear it. If you want to hear it, go watch it. But we're just letting it, play out while you guys are discussing it. So
I'm not sure, but I think he said that if you don't move at the end of the ulti, you won't get stunned.
That's correct.
yeah,
Right.
that's what I heard too.
But they also said if you get hit by like an Anhor Spear or a Wukong ult to fear and make you move, you will be stunned.
Oh, that sounds weird.
And also
Interesting.
not moving for the second. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of.
It's basically like a stun already.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a stun in and of itself. Like you're gonna
It's basically forcing you to play a certain way when that ult goes off, and I don't like that. I don't like being told I have to play a way because an ultimate says so.
It's stop or I'm going to make you stop. One of the two.
yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, the whole idea of not being able to move as a mechanic in a MOBA isn't new. We've seen it, but it's never been something that was global, where it hit everybody and it said, hey, guess what? Now you have to hold still. It's always been a single target mechanic where you get hit by something and you get to make a choice. You can either stand still or you can move and like traditionally take a lot of damage or something like that. And so it's I think that's where players are finding the problem with it right now. But I mean, theoretically, you could find the sweet spot where you literally have to stop running for less than a second and then you could keep running again. I'm not saying that that's a good way to think about it in terms of balance. I don't think that is. I don't think you should think that players are going to be that calculated necessarily. But theoretically, you could just, I'll stop for a second and then keep running.
Yeah.
Or you could Aegis it like any other ultimate, right? I mean,
yeah.
or
could you
speeds
beads
or
out of it?
anything else.
He did. I believe they said that doesn't work on the darkness part though. Beads and Aegis doesn't work.
But
Right.
But
But the
being
darkness
stunned?
part, I don't think is what players have a problem with. I think it's the global
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Right. I just wanted to
Darkness
clarify
isn't
that.
anything new. That's been
Yeah. I mean, even Raw has a blind,
Yeah.
so that's a really short blind, but
Yeah.
it's still annoying when you have really good graphics. Whole screen turns white. Yeah.
Since I haven't played with the graphics too much, if you lower down like all the graphic settings to like their minimum,
It's not that much different.
does it affect Raw's blind? Like I remember back in
does.
Counter-Strike days that you would turn off like all your graphics and smoke grenades would be non-existent almost if they weren't already existent, and stun grenades wouldn't actually blind you.
Flash
Yeah.
Flash
Flashbangs.
grenades. Yeah, flashbangs. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I
I
had
haven't
no
actually
idea.
tried it. So.
Interesting thing somebody ought to try.
Yeah.
I have been playing on some very low though. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. I think it will still, yeah.
Bye, Jerbie.
I think it won't really matter though, if you have a high or low.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what are we worried about with his 90-second cooldown? Is that a problem? I mean,
a minute and a half is a fairly long cooldown.
yeah, it is.
90 seconds
Depends
sounds
on how
very
the stun
low.
plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as all per se, it looks very, very statistically bad, but wait until you play it. Because I remember we cried about Thor, and then it turned out to be a whole lot of nothing.
I like his 3 ability. It's sort of a
Yeah, the jump
new
thing?
mechanic.
Yeah, I like how the fact that they're doing like a combo stuff. When they built him, they said that they wanted to make it more of a synergistic kit where you use this, then you use that, then you kind of do this stuff to combo it. There's also some little tertiary skills that you can have. But like as we were just watching the video, it looks like so much fun. You throw things, you run at them, you jump in the air, you do this. You know, it's all sorts of intense action, and that's I think a great way to get people to actually enjoy the game. Also, you can tell that they've been doing, as we're talking about with the graphics, if you look at his graphics and all of his flashiness and movements and how smooth he looks, they're doing a great job. It's just going to be interesting when they go back to revisit people like Artemis and really spiff them up and make her not run weird with a bow like that when she's on. Yeah. If they can just fix her
That
running.
animation is awesome.
Yeah, that rolling in, and that is cool. We were actually looking at it, me and the other data miners, were staring at it. We were like, this death animation. There's something wrong with this death animation because it's just weird. I mean, I thought maybe they mixed it up with an actual Unreal animation, and so it made him like twirl up like that. And then when I actually saw it in the game, I was like, oh, that was intentional. Nice. I was right this whole time.
I was right, and I didn't even know.
He's going to be very critical in positioning with that 3. It could really hurt him because of that secondary air control movement that you have to worry about. It almost seems like he's an AD carry that is sort of leaning more towards definitely get in there and get in the fight. So the players are going to have to choose if they want to use that 3 to get in or get out. It's kind of like Thor's ultimate, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's more like a dash because it doesn't go over walls or anything.
Yeah, it's more like a Guan Yu dash. Doesn't it even slow too?
I think they said he can get stunned and everything when he's in midair too.
Yep.
Yes,
which is weird.
I think only certain ones, because I do remember them saying Ymir won't work when he's in midair.
Yeah.
So I think it's only certain, like ticks work on him, damage over time, and then only certain stuns. Like I don't think you can spear him when he's in air.
It's going to be confusing to players. I think they should have just made it you can either hit him or you can't.
Yeah.
There's no reason to make it complicated like that. It should be pretty simple design. You know, Agni, when he's dashing, is immune to CC. You could see him glow. So I don't see why, either make... I mean, this guy has a longer travel time, so either make him immune or not, but don't make it where some hit him and some don't. That's just confusing. It seems more like a bug to me than anything else.
Yeah. So
in my opinion, I think when he... Sorry about that. If he jumps in the air, like in that moment, he should be immune, but during his dash, he could still get snared, like stopping somebody from doing
I agree. I think that's great. It rewards you for getting the ability offline because the actual dash is before the jump, right? So I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
So give you a job.
I wanted to tell people they could go ahead and call us up on Perfect Rain and ask us questions, bring up your concerns about this patch. We'd love to hear the community's feedback on all this stuff. So please do call up and complain. Preferably message me, and then I'll call you because it just works better that way. But
yeah, the matches of the day, they were a lot of fun on the PTS.
Hot Loki on Loki Action was one of them.
I played all Loki. That was really, like, when you play games like that, you learn that god skills. By, like, level 14, you know what's going to happen.
Yes. It's a great learning tool. I will agree with that.
It's like, you want to see pretty much anything Loki can do. Get 10 Lokis and have them brawl, you're gonna find it.
Yeah, is it always gonna be on the Conquest map? Is the big question.
No, I played one yesterday that was on the arena map.
Okay, cool. I know that one thing Erez said was that there will never be the same map of the day twice.
No,
he said that on stream. I swear.
Come on, man. And some of them are fun.
I was like, I don't know if there's that many combinations, but you know.
I feel like that's impossible. At some point, they're gonna have to repeat.
Yeah, but it could be quite a while. By the time they repeat it, you might have forgotten about it, but who knows?
That's true.
Or distant memory, and it's changed so much by then. Who knows? Why are you laughing so hard, Spray?
I was seeing the chat. All right, that's through you. Sorry.
No.
I'll be quiet.
Can I go back to Xblanque for a second?
Hell yeah.
I wanted to talk about his one skill, the branching bola.
Yes.
I like the way that they're actually adding a on-hit toggle skill.
Cool.
I think this is the first one we've seen in the game, an on-hit toggle.
Yes, as far as I know, yeah.
And I don't know, it's something new. I like it.
Yeah. I saw in the video it has the numbers that appear above their heads. I'm guessing that's part of that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
cool,
we have
I like on-hit toggles.
We have our caller. You can say that.
Kevin Mayer?
No. I pointed to that right there, so you didn't say that.
Oh.
But whatever now. You ruined it. Adnus?
It's
Adonis?
Adonis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adonis. That seems. See, that makes sense now. So,
Dude,
what would
it's
you like
like
to say?
12-point
Go
font
yourself.
from
How's
like
that?
3 feet.
Go
What the-
yourself.
I'm gonna go with the big text. Thanks.
It's a little bit of a comment about the whole stat thing. I actually saw a thread on BL Gaming, and someone linked a Penny Arcade thing where they talked about making games esports and how some games are esports friendly and some aren't.
Sure.
And everyone here wants to make the game an esport. I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
To sum up the whole video is it needs to be viewer friendly. It needs to be that everyone wants to watch it. It can't be boring. It's got to be exciting. And I feel the stat page is it's boring to people. It's boring to watch. And then on Smite Network, Anuki, I think, said it's going to make it hard for casters.
Yep.
Yeah, you have the items. You can be like, oh, he's doing that. But the way the old build was, it was just, oh, okay, these guys are building this because of that. Not, oh, he's allocating 5 points into mana, 3 points into magical power, and so on and so on.
Yeah. It does make it a lot easier with going pure items, is that you can do it at a glance. Just, like Lionheart, I'm sure, can glance at the little bottom bar of all the stuff and automatically know that this guy's building damage, this guy's building magic resistance, this guy's building so-and-so, because he knows all the icons and, you can just tell, versus having to read the numbers, which ones are higher, can get annoying and confusing, I'm very sure.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking becomes a new caster for Smite.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, with the stats, is there is going to be an optimal build for damage. It's like, okay, you need to build this item and these stats at this stage of the game and when you get this much money. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, once people who know how to read the stats and allocate them and do all the math that I don't know about, and just do it perfectly, and it's just going to become really cookie cutter and, like Jerb said, min-maxing.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's going to be any more cookie cutter than anything else in a MOBA, right? Every MOBA, every meta, somebody comes up with something. This is the way you do it, and everybody does it until somebody figures out something else that breaks it. Usually, it breaks it because it's a new character is introduced or a new champion's introduced into the MOBA that has a skill set that wasn't there before, and so that build isn't the best build for them. So I don't think that it's going to be any more cookie cutter than the current system or the PTS1 system. They're all going to be cookie cutter because eventually all of them are going to have one build that's the best for a specific character. And that's how it's going to be. That's what MOBAs are. That's what they do. This fantasy of being able to create a system where your character can be built differently. Every single game is just that. It's fantasy. That's never going to be the reality of the genre. That's just not how it works. And that's not how human psychology works. Even if there are multiple options that are good, people are going to find one player who does really, really well with that, and they're just going to follow them. And that's just how it's going to be.
They're just going to... See, I like when Jerbie was saying he loves the theory crafting aspect of it. The only problem with that is that I would say at least 80% of the gaming population just wants to jump in and play the game. They don't want to have to think about what is going to be the best item for this particular match all the time. They just want to be able to go look at that build and go in and kick some ass and have some fun and have their day.
Well, that was kind of the point I brought up. I did an interview with Bart, and one of the points I brought up was with the stat build. The biggest issue to me is, and like the same thing I told him, how many people honestly can think on the fly with as much stuff as going on in in the game itself. You've got all these different gods, but so say for yourself, I think the mentality was, okay, well, I'm just going to counter build off whatever god or gods I'm going against right at that moment in time. Well, what if that build screws you up later in the game? So now all of a sudden you can't necessarily think about the early game aspect, but the later game aspect of it, and is it going to put you behind in the early game of it, and you're going to sit in base, you're going to be brooding this over and over, and the whole time, they may be setting up for a Gold Fury, they may be setting up for a Fire Giant, and you're still stuck in base having to think too damn much about what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Can you think about all these different factors and anomalies in a split-second decision?
Yeah.
They're basically making it easier for Asians to nominate this game as well.
Ouch. Ouch. That hurt.
Racist.
Wow.
Ow.
Okay. Is anyone contesting me though? Look at League of Legends.
what?
Look at StarCraft. Who's the dominant teams and players?
I mean, it's the Asians. But, I don't know. Why is that then? Would anybody like to inform us? Is it just because they're good at math? Is that why Peter
They eat a
Griffin
lot
takes
of
them and
rice.
sets them on his desk and
Lot of
says, do
rice.
math?
I mean, I'll personally comment on that, and that might be a little out of line what I'm about to say, but I honestly think it's just culture.
Yeah.
I think that, especially in League of Legends, and I have nothing but respect for the professional players who are very good at that game, much better than I am. But like a lot of the American players and even some of the European players are all about show and being loud and making money. And the other teams come and play to win, and they're not sitting there on stream all day fucking around in solo queue. Excuse my language, but
Yeah.
they're actually working together, training every
Yep.
single day. As where a lot of the American teams you saw, I mean, they. As one of the members of M5 said, they brought their girlfriends to come watch. I mean, they're not taking it seriously like some of the other teams are. And the team that takes it the most seriously and applies themselves the most is going to win. It's a team game. So I think
Yeah,
that it's partially culture. I mean, look at the United States, look at MTV, look at the kind of shit we do. I mean, it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Kind of the culture of being dishonored, because it's probably pretty common that if you make it to the top in gaming in Korea or something, you're going to be held on a very high standard, and if you do something bad or you lose horribly, you're pretty much not going to be known anymore. People just won't remember your name. So I think it's just it's an honoring thing. You need to keep honoring your name and keep winning and
yeah.
play on a,
They
on
take
a really high
everything-
pedestal.
They take everything extremely seriously. No matter what they do it to perfection, I guess would be the best way of putting it. So,
Well, that whole conversation just got derailed.
Pretty
that's
much.
quite all right.
Well, it is
No,
a good
but-
point. I mean, when Demon and I did show for League of Legends, we saw that same thing too. We asked the pros, you know, what do
are you
you
gonna
do?
do?
And they're like, nothing.
We'll be awesome. We'll kick
We'll
ass
just do
later.
whatever we do, and then
we got 2 years experience on them and stuff like that, and now you look at it and they're getting their kicked in. You know.
yep.
and,
So-
and on a side note, though, and this is such a tangent that we're on here, but I have to
That's
highlight
all
this
right. It's
as
a
a
good
business
tangent.
person, is that, you know, yeah, some of the best teams are not U.S. teams or EU teams right now, at least in League, for example. But some of those players on the U.S. teams and EU teams get more people watching their streams than the best players do, and they make a lot of money off of that. If you do the math, it's over $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and
Loaded.
say that that's more than anybody who's watching this stream right now is making, unless the management staff of Hi-Res is on here, they're probably making more than $300K a year. But generally, the majority of us are not making that kind of money, and so there's, I mean, they're maybe they're not the best, but they are still making a very nice living.
Yeah.
If the best people speak a different language, then you don't really have to worry about losing your audience to them.
Yeah, that is very
I
true.
mean, if your audience can't
concurrently
understand
playing,
them,
there are more gamers in China than there are in the U.S. and EU combined.
yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they
Population
make
is so
revenue
much
there.
higher
I
than
don't
ours.
obviously watch
I'm not
Chinese
sure
streams
now.
because I don't.
Gaming's
speak a word
also
of Chinese.
celebrated more in Asian cultures than in, like, my parents
Yeah,
when I
it's
was growing
true.
up, like, oh, you can't do anything with gaming, and now you can, and
It's
and
true,
that's
it's
that's
true.
grown. Like, my parents were always okay with gaming, but it wasn't like, okay, yeah, when you're 18, 19, 20, you got to be stopping this and doing whatever you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
What I want to do with my life is something gaming related or tech related, and it's possible now.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, then I think we've exhausted that one.
no, we haven't. But
No, we
we're gonna
haven't?
stop for now.
Yeah. Well, we've
That's a long tangent. We can go a long way down that rabbit hole.
Okay, sorry, but back to originally, like, what would people rather watch? Would they rather watch stat sheets or easy
Right.
to view items or
Spreadsheet.
like one item with 4 stats or 3 stats?
Spreadsheets in space.
Yep, spreadsheets in space.
Yep.
No, I would definitely go with the items. I would like to go for the items because it on a side tangent. One thing I'm doing as me is the fact that I don't have a whole lot of time to play the game, so I've actually started a little community called the casual competitives. We are like grouping up on BLG and on Smite Network and stuff. We just want to get together and be the people that want to play competitively, but we have no time due to life. So, I mean, we have maybe an hour or 2 or 3 a week. And so we want to be able to play with people who also take the game seriously and not just join random queue and get people who leave and people who suck and people who don't care. And I forgot where I was going with all that. Damn it.
You were telling people about it, and you were explaining it.
Yes, and I was explaining it, and then
and,
you know,
and then you just
and so
keep going with it.
I want to be able to watch the pros and get that cookie cutter build info from items that I can just be like, I know that if I build this, I should at least be reasonable, and if I do terribly, then I'm doing something wrong. You know, I don't have hours in the day to meld all of this information that they're going to be throwing at us with these stats, and I don't really want to have to learn it. You know, I don't want to dump 300 hours into a MMORPG that this is turning into with these stats.
I didn't really get to talk about the stat system that much. Can I give my 2 cents on that?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Yes, we would.
Are you
love
sure
it.
we have time? I don't want to like.
No, we're good.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
So here's
especially
my
like
2
last
cents
week.
on
Yeah.
the stat system. And you guys, many of you are probably going to disagree with me, but I just want to throw this out there anyways. It's
Throw it
already
out
dead
there.
in the water, if you
Yes.
haven't read. Well, it's not really dead in the water. It's kind of being put in as a side dish, I guess, to the main.
Yeah.
Anyways, but as the main system, it's dead in the water right now. But the thing about the stat system was this, and I thought there were some great points brought up about negatives. There were also some pros that were really looked over. I'll go over the negative first, just get it out of the way. Okay.
do it.
The fact that it is hard to display is a huge negative. I think it's difficult to display in Spectator. I think it's difficult to display in game via tab screen. I think generally the display of it is just very, very hard to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think it would be cluttered. I really do. I don't see a good way to display that system.
I agree.
The other thing about it that was kind of a doubter that people talked about was, the amount of math included, the feeling of decision making associated with it. Jerb talked about a bit about that, and then just overall the kind of, I don't know, how unrewarding it feels, I guess, to go back and purchase stats.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of good stuff about the system that really wasn't fleshed out, that I think people got caught on that stuff and didn't really look at the good from this system, right? Some of the good that could be is you're not forced into purchase. The system was, I mean, let's be honest, the system was implemented half-ass. That's the
Yes.
truth. It was rushed out the door to you guys, and the presentation was sloppy. I mean, it just was sloppy. There was potential to put this system out in a way where it could have been much more polished, where you were able to purchase it from a polished screen, where you maybe had a graduate system for passives rather than picking up Mystical Mark at level 1 and rushing and killing your opponent in 3 auto attacks. It was a sloppy implementation. But the truth is that there was potential for the system. You could have developed, there could have been a graduated system where you purchased only certain passives, weaker passives that were intended for early game, and were able to graduate into strong passives, similar to the way items are built in League of Legends or Dota. There was opportunity for you to have stats, get a reward by purchasing a certain amount of stats, which again complicates the system. That's another concern that people had that I think was a very reasonable concern. But there was a way where you could have implemented the system in a way where, hey, I just bought 100 physical power. Now I get this little bonus and maybe some kind of aesthetic effect. I mean, there were ways to make it feel rewarding that were never really explored. So the system never really got parsed out because people just really went on a witch hunt and gets it right from the beginning. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for doing that or that anybody's wrong for doing it. I mean, part of the reason why people reacted the way they did is because it was rushed out the door, and what you see is this half-assed system in front of you that, as many people have described, looks like an RPG or looks like something that's not MOBA that you don't want. And especially after getting introduced with PTS1, which I think generally was received so positively that it
Yeah.
felt like, well, you just gave us this great patch. Why are you doing this now?
Yeah.
So I think that the system was shunned away prematurely. I think it had the potential to be a really, really good system. I don't think you have to worry about it being the main system now because as you can see from the actions of Hi-Rez, have kind of shied away from it. But I really did want to get that out there, that I think that the system had potential. Clearly it's dead now. I think the other system has potential too. So I don't think there's anything wrong. You can't go wrong one way or the other. I know some people feel more strongly about that than I do. But yeah, that's all I wanted to get out.
I liked it. It was very good. Glad we had it.
Do you feel that they tried to do this stat system because they're afraid of trying to come out with new items that still somewhat stay in a balanced state for the game, and having a stat system would fix all of that nonsense? Do you think that's why they came out with it?
I actually think the whole reason why they came out with the stat system was they were sitting there. They had just come up with Focus, which was an innovative idea. It's not in any other MOBA. That was implemented. And off of that brainstorming, they came up with this idea. They're like, you know what? We introduced Focus, and everybody, for the most part, loved it. The surveys showed it. There was a large majority that were fans of Focus. And then they thought, what if rather than, people are always complaining about items, always complaining that this item's useless or part of this item's not good, so they won't buy it. They'll only go with this item. What if we just let people buy what they want stat-wise so that they can actually customize the way they want to, rather than customizing the way we tell them to because we decide what stats go with what items.
Sure.
And then, oh, by the way, since people seem to like this passive aspect that we've introduced, let's keep that in this system also. So I really don't think it was malicious. I think their idea was this way you can get what you want without having to jump through the hoops that they designed for you, but then also kind of put it in a place where, at least in their minds, I think it was easier to balance because it would be, I think to them, just the simple adjusting of gold costs, and then the passive part, which was highly imbalanced, could have been adjusted, like I said, with a graduated system, which never got the chance to really breathe.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your call, Mr. Oh, screw it, Kevin.
All right, looks like we have another person who is interested
Yes, we
in
have
commenting.
we have our. Oh, he wants to comment on the Korean gaming scene.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah, and if you guys want to
As soon as
call
he
in,
finishes
ask us
calling.
questions on pretty much anything we've talked about or anything related, call us up on Skype. It's perfect.rain. Skype, perfect.rain. Call us up, talk to us. Talk to our panel here. We've got Lionheart, Sturmy, Xlantris, Cooper,
I think they can
Jerbie,
see.
Sprayon. I know, but they might not be looking and might just be listening.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it's Brazil.
See.
You guys
Oh, shut up.
Jerbie
Hi,
gets
Baz.
access to dollar gunners. Jerbie gets
Oh,
access to
brother. How
dollar
you guys
gunners.
doing?
All right, what's up?
I got my inside source coop.
Not too much. Hey, I wanted to comment on the Korean gaming scene you guys were talking about. They can actually get out of military service if they play StarCraft 2 professionally.
Wait,
That is how legit StarCraft is over in Korea.
Yeah. Just for everybody that's watching, Cooper and Baz have quite a relationship on the in our chat. They talk a lot.
It's
during
got to
the
be
day.
the funnest fact I've ever heard.
Draft dodging by playing StarCraft.
Yeah. Anyway, I also wanted to comment on the stats thing. My biggest problem with it is I felt like I had to kind of open up my D&D handbook and go, okay, let's just kind of look at what kind of stats we need here. Okay, it was just, I kind of agree with you guys. It was just too much. Like, it's a good idea, but I think it's just too much for a MOBA. So,
Yeah. It falls under the fact that most people who play MOBAs don't want to have to spend 3 hours in a game. Or, it feels like you're having to dedicate a little too much time to that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, you got to counter your opponents. And kind of going back to the whole Dota discussion, at least in that game you can buy certain items that are kind of off topic if they fit the team composition. I mean, like, a DPS can get a support item if it actually needs it. And whereas in Smite, you kind of have to build all DPS. You don't really need a support item if you're a carry because that's going to hurt your overall burst or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the whole stats are useful, but I just don't think that they will ever be implemented properly in the game itself. So that's all I got. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
you.
Christmas,
Happy
dude.
holidays.
Merry New Year.
I kind of get the feeling at the same time, maybe the mindset, the mentality was the game's not complex enough. And
Sure.
and I the more I think
agree
about
a
it, the
little.
more I think about it. Obviously, it's a great idea to add more complexity to the game. But even if the game only had 4 items, I think one of the key factors you got to think about it is this. And I'll try to put in a scenario for you. So we had going to mid-roll, for example.
Sure.
If I'm going against Xlantris, after watching him, after playing against him, I know his tendencies are that he will play up, he will he will hold his cooldowns, and then if I put myself in a partial position, he's going to waste those cooldowns.
Now you
From
gave my
there-
secret away. Damn it.
Well,
I'm
no,
just kidding.
well, there's a point to this, though. There's a point to this. So from there, I also know that as a player, he holds his breath whenever he's trying to kill somebody. Now, when I look at Drew plays aggressive enough to the point where he is baiting a mistake, and he's going to take advantage of that. Then you go over to Arena Tank. Arena Tank is a person that goes up and spams every single cooldown he got and then runs away. And I think that's just a small example of how complex you can take the game, and the complexity is already there no matter what. And that's the point I want to make is that you don't need to make the game more complex. You don't need to make 1,001 items. The players themselves make the complexity of it all. And then upon the whole idea of mid, then you expand it off to side lane tendencies. How often does Sturmies rotate out of lane? How often does Sturmies, take the aggressive route versus the defensive route, whatever the case may be. And in so doing, there's already so much on the table that I know all these competitive players think of, or even normal players think of, that I guess aren't taken into account when it actually comes to balancing the game out, whatever the case may be. And then you enter in a whole new section of that, and it's too much. It's end of story. It's just too much to take in. I can't do it. I don't know anybody who can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
hopefully that's taken to heart. Don't make it too complex.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I could see is that maybe if they wanted to do a very, very slim down stat, which seems what they might be doing, to where it might make it a little easier to balance some things because you have all these differences you get with different items, and then you can kind of fill in that little bit of a gap with an extra stat that you want here, you want there, to maybe not make balance such a crybaby issue. It's an option like that. That's the only other thing I would think that they could do to make it a little bit better, while it's not making it too damn complicated.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just look at it straightforward, objectively, just giving you a whole bunch of stats does make it easier. You don't really have to decide which item you want or which one you want. You know what stat, in theory, you want. Now, beyond, what 2 stats you want, that gets a little more difficult. You're like, when should I get health? Should I get mana? Should I get this? Should I get that? Well, I know I need magic power. I know I need physical power. I mean, it's kind of straightforward. But, I mean, ideally, you want it to be simple to pick up, but hard to master. Otherwise,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that the...
go for it.
I didn't cut you off early, did I?
No.
He was just going on to continue going on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 'Cause I do that all the time.
Yep.
I think that there's an important thing that all of you guys are highlighting on here. It's kind of but I like to be blunt, so I like to highlight things just directly, just to throw it out there, so make sure everybody is getting the message that I think is being delivered. And interrupt me if you think I'm wrong, but generally speaking, the system itself seems like it would be more simple, right? The stat system, to be able to go and pick your individual stats. But I think what's being said here is that there's something to be had in placing some of the decision making on what I need to buy as a player onto high res, and having them make that decision for me through game design by creating items that are specific to early game, that items that are good at different points of the game. They're essentially making that decision for me as a player, not me individually like Lionheart. I mean, I make my own decisions, but as a player, speaking generally, to be able to make it easier actually on players, because rather than being that new player who says, hey, I have to figure out what stat to open up with this starting 1,500 gold, and I have this huge menu here. It's, hey, here's 4 750 items. Pick one and get your ass to the lane. And that's kind of that's much more simple when you look at it that way than the stat system. As far as I think the perspective of a new player, I'm not a new player, and I honestly haven't been a new player to a MOBA in a long time. But I think that's kind of what's going on there.
Yep.
Or what's being said, anyways, by everybody here.
I would say Revel summed it up extremely well with the make it easy to pick up but hard to master.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key. And that's everything what everybody's trying to do. Make it easy to pick up but hard to master.
And rewarding to master.
Yeah, and rewarding to master, too.
And the thing is making the game hard to master isn't going to be through builds. As people have already said, regardless of the system you choose, there's going to be a build that's going to be the best for a specific character. Yep. The system becomes hard to master in the fact that you have a game that's all skill shots, and then you can adjust kits accordingly, and that's where the complication, that's where the skill cap comes from, right? I mean, it's all skill shots. Like League of Legends, you can play AD carry, and if you don't feed a lot and you get farmed up enough, you can just click on one person, and your character is auto attack them until they die.
Just stand there and it auto attacks for you. It's like, oh, this person's here. Just boom, 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 boom. Oh, now this person.
You can just
That's like a
click.
dramatic oversimplification by us. Obviously, League of Legends is much more complicated than that. You have to kite, you have to position. But I'm just saying that the complexity comes from the gameplay. It doesn't have to come from the item system.
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
Very, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Complex.
I mean, enough of the complexity is already there with the fact that it is skill shots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't make it even more complicated by making the items complicated.
And like what Lionheart said, and you can tune to how well you are at those skill shots. So say if you always hit all of your skills and you have auto attack abilities, there's items that let you do that much more extra damage beyond that if you're just really good with at hitting them. If you suck at hitting auto attacks when you're a magic user, there's certain items you just don't get. I mean, you just don't get it. It's a bad idea.
It's true.
Yeah, but if you can always hit your, spells, but you can't hit that, I mean, you have other opportunities to build different things. So, how it goes. So
Yeah.
There's
Fantastical. Anyone else want to say anything major? Because I guess we're going to wrap it up here soon.
Yeah.
We're running for a while.
Unless we have any outstanding callers, which I do not believe we do.
Nope. Does not seem like that today.
No, because I mean the game's changed and the PTS changed
God.
so much over the. Normally we have a week or so, several days to look at.
Usually
patch
a couple
notes.
episodes to get used to a patch.
And this one it's like 2 days later, different.
2 days later, different.
Yep, different.
Not just different, vastly different.
Completely different. Which and there's tournaments. I mean, we do kind of need to talk about that.
Yeah, we do need to talk about them tournaments that happened. Lionheart, you did a lot of casting this past weekend. What happened in these tournaments?
I did. I think there were 2 tournaments this weekend, and I only covered one of them. I was covering MyRevenge's tournament. I believe there's another tournament going on, and I'm remiss to say that I don't know that much about it because it wasn't highlighted to me until last minute, so I apologize if you're the tournament host and you're watching, or one of the teams who participated is watching. I feel bad about that. But I did cover the MyRevenge Smite Cup. Procore Gaming versus Juice Gaming in the finals. Procore Gaming actually able to be your first repeat champions for their MyRevenge Smite Cup, but it was a very, very close matchup. It was the first time that a tournament in Smite has gone for a best-of-3 grand finals, and it actually went to the 3rd game, which was awesome.
Nice.
The first game went to Procore Gaming, second game went to Juice Gaming, and the 3rd game was very, very close. But, of course, being that Procore Gaming is your champions, it did go to them. But it was an awesome tournament. It was 7 hours of coverage. So if you were bored on Saturday morning, you could have sat down and watched 7 hours of Smite and been entertained for 7 hours and watched me lose my voice.
And not just Smite, good Smite.
Yeah, good Smite.
Yeah, really good Smite. I mean, all the matches that we covered were awesome. And the thing is that one of the other things that I really like about MyRevenge as a tournament host is they don't just reach out to me for coverage. Certainly we use Smite Game to cover a lot of the major games, but there was actually coverage for all the games, and all you had to do was go to the Smite directory and you could have found any team that you wanted to follow at any time. So I think that's something really cool to show that there's a lot of people in the community that are willing to step up to the plate and provide you guys coverage. And some of the people who were casting these other games were only getting like single-digit or low double-digit viewers, and they were still giving you their full efforts and their full coverage in case that one of those teams is a team you want to watch. And I think that's really cool, and props to everybody who participated in that tournament, both hosts and teams. And I mean, you guys should definitely, it's every Saturday morning. I don't know if it's this Saturday because it's a holiday. I haven't actually checked on that. Previously it was scheduled for Saturday, and I was like, guys, maybe you shouldn't do that because it's a holiday, people are out of town. But generally it's every Saturday, and it's free to sign up. I mean, you might as well just get 4 of your buddies and play, and if you get knocked out in the first round, who cares? At least you got to compete and try, and maybe you'll find that you really like competitive Smite and you'll get better, and you'll be the next Outlaw Esports or Procore Gaming, which I think are the 2 latest teams. Although I don't know how long has Aspect been around. You guys haven't been around that long either, right?
No, we started like month and a half ago.
Yeah. So I mean, and that just goes to show you there's new teams coming in all the time, and you guys, you're getting into your groove and stuff. But I mean, you're competing, and that's really good. And I know Outlaw Esports is pretty new too. They haven't been able to make it as far as I think they'd like. But I mean, all of you guys are really competent, competitive players, and I think that's, you know, it's just getting into the groove against these teams that have been playing for like 6 months together and basically think like one unit, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing about our team not throwing this in there, like, to get a free marketing, but we're not sponsored. We're just a random group, friends and everything, and just made up a team.
Yeah.
And we're still playing.
That's
So
how you
That's
do it.
awesome. Like I seriously, like that's awesome. Like I wish more people would do that because the community could use it. It's healthy for the community. And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you've been having fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even
so
though
that's-
And
raging because Juice Gaming just beat us, but
Sorry, man. We're all greedy pigs, and when money's on the line, we gotta try.
Yeah,
That is very true.
and I mean, hey, you just started your a month ago with your friends, and hey, now you're on a show talking about the game as a representative. So, hey, play, win.
It's fun.
yeah.
It's fun.
Encourage
Get
all the
e-famous.
viewers to do it also. Get more teams in here. Let's have some fun.
Yes. Hell yeah. That's what I'm hoping to do with my casual competitive. Maybe we'll get some of these guys coming in there in the bigger scene. Maybe we can grow some of the people who don't have any time, and we'll be like, we beat Juice, and we only play 2 hours a week. That'll be great.
And Juice is like,
That's my goal.
Juice was like, I was in the garage eating pizza. I don't know.
Watch out for
The
SK
cat was
Gaming.
playing night.
Number one, why do you got to bash on juice? Number two, why do you got to bash on pizza?
Hey, you were eating the pizza. That is not a bash
Oh, my
on
bad.
pizza.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
acceptable.
You're not beating the pizza, you're eating the pizza.
Okay.
Eating the pizza.
Right, because what we actually found out was we were playing against your cat that was walking across the keyboard while you were away playing. So, Jerbie, do you have anything you want to tell us about this last tournament? Like any insight from the thing that, you know, us as viewers would like to know? You know, how is it being in the tournament in general?
I think we at Juice Gaming, we've been, I guess the humble answer is lackluster, and the honest answer is lackluster in the tournaments, whether it be with itemization, grouping, fighting, whatever the case may be, and so, you know, obviously we placed second in this past tournament, and that's good, but obviously the goal is number one every single time, and so recently, you know, we just came to the decision that we've been taking this too arrogantly, I guess, because, you know, we've won our tournaments at certain points throughout the game, and then
Sure.
you know, I guess it's a humbling experience for these new teams to come out of nowhere and just stop. And you know, so now we've started practicing 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, or at least 2 hours a day. You know, just rededication to the game, I guess. And you know, so we're looking forward to what all these tournaments are going to bring to the table. Putting our name back out there, getting our name back to number one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you should always be hoping for. Because there's always someone better than you, so you just got to keep practicing. As it is a new game. And breaking news, we have the public test servers live with the new patch.
Yep.
So go check it out. There's a lot of neat stuff they added.
Wait till after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait till after the show.
You can start
Sorry,
downloading
I
it
can't
now,
help
but
myself.
you know,
Same.
wait till we're done. But yeah, apparently the stats bar on the top is a lot cleaner. They've polished a lot of things, so we can't wait to go and check it out. Make us all sorts of interesting information for next week's show, which will be on Thursday at 9, like it is every week, and has been for the past 75 weeks, except for that
70
1 week.
weeks.
74 weeks,
Yeah.
because we missed that 1 week because we went to PAX.
Well, as early as at night.
What?
What? No, never mind.
You know, there is one other thing I wanted to say.
Go for it.
That I just remembered. You guys are gonna think I'm like mega fucking lame for thinking about this, but I actually thought about this last night. I was reading the forums before I went to bed, and I thought about this, and I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Hello,
This is
Kitty.
gonna be like super odd, but when you guys post feedback on the forums or just generally around streams, try to remember that Hi-Rez is actually trying to make this game better for you guys, and that the people who work at Hi-Rez are not abstract robots, they're human beings. So the stuff you say can actually hurt their feelings. I mean, some of the stuff they're working on is for you. I mean, they're killing themselves. They I'm in touch with actually a good amount of them, and they work some pretty crazy hours. And they're really crazy hours trying to make this game as polished as it can for you. And I know some of their ideas might seem a little crazy or off to you, and your initial reaction is like, what the fuck? What were you thinking? Excuse my language. But just before you go to the forums and just write that, and then they read that and have to deal with that, maybe you can think of a more constructive way to put it so that you don't, make them feel terrible for spending their life creating your entertainment. I know you pay for it, or some of you may pay for it, some of you may not. So you're entitled to make demands as a customer, but just try to remember that everybody's a human being and has feelings, because some of the stuff on there is pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there. That's like a totally lame moment. Why are you saying this? We know that we're still gonna be how we are. You fucking loser. Now I'm gonna cuss you out. But I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to remind people of the obvious.
Yeah. And a game like this with a developer like this is a lot different than, say, if you were playing Battlefield or Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Or any other AAA title where the developers don't really care about the forums.
Yeah.
They're never gonna read it. That's not their thing.
Aren't you grateful?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we know these guys read the forums every day. They all read a ton of the forums. I mean, how often do they post? And just imagine if you were there posting that and then suddenly you had 6 pages of people hating you. How would you feel about your day? You're going to go home and you're going to go to bed and you're not going to sleep well and you're just going to worry about what am I going to do next that's going to make people fly off the handle and yell at me all day. I mean, not to mention probably the internal fighting it might cause.
Yeah.
You start yelling at people, and they're like, well, you came up with this idea. Well, it was your idea, not my idea. Why are they yelling at me? They're yelling at you. It just causes a whole bunch of mess when you're just rude and mean and yelling at people. So
don't blame everyone.
Try to be constructive with your criticism, like we've said over and over again.
And you can feel free to
why.
have, say the same thing, just not in a really harsh, awful way. Only mildly awful.
Tell it how you would tell criticism to your mother. Or your
Treat
dad.
others the way
Some
you want
people
to be
treat their
treated.
moms like shit. Be
Okay.
careful.
Yeah.
With somebody that you like a lot, like maybe a girlfriend or a... God, this analogy is not working because people can just treat people like crap.
It's like, wait. We're finding out. Treat it like shit. People treat people like crap.
Yeah.
Treat it like a piece of bacon, because everybody loves bacon.
Yes, treat it like you would treat bacon.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You
I
just
think
yell
for me
at
and
it,
Jerbie will be for
but from the
pizza.
heart.
Right.
From the heart.
Exactly.
I treat it like I treat my
Don't
boulder.
touch my pizza, man. That's my calling card. Okay, you get your own. You can have Chinese. You can have Chinese food if you want.
You're not even Italian, sir.
I am half Italian, thank you.
I had some Chinese food for dinner. It was delicious.
What did I have for dinner?
Before I had some
tuna fish. That's right.
red velvet cake that was imported from somewhere else. Whatever.
I see.
It was a good day.
You
It was a
can't get
good day.
American red velvet cake?
No, it was American. It was just from 1,000 miles away. What?
Alaska?
I get good red velvet cake, thanks.
All right. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up with some shout-outs from all of our different people. I guess we'll let Sprayarn go first since he has been the most loud at the beginning and then stayed the most quiet at the end. And
Yes, I'm getting a bit tired actually.
I don't doubt it.
I would like to give a shout out to my team, Bipolar Method. I would also like to give a shout out to our Facebook. I'll type it in the chat.
You could type it after you're done giving your shout-outs, and then you could...
yeah. Stop. Type that.
I'll also make a shout out to Harris for I mean, they have done some good things, they have done some bad things, but overall, yeah.
They're trying. And they show you that they're trying.
Man, brought tears to Jerbie's eyes.
Migraine.
Oh.
Migraine spray.
Put those glasses on.
Yeah, I know, right? I need to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Spray. And thank you for being on the show, of course. And then we'll let Xlantras go next.
I'll start off by giving a shout out to you guys for letting me on here. Appreciate it. Had fun.
You're welcome.
Shout out to the Hi-Res Studios, all the hard work that they do. Love all the effort to make the game a lot better. And letting us, the players, give feedback to be able to make it, like, contribute to the game also. A shout out to my team, Aspect Gaming, going strong, and shout out to all the other teams out there that are playing and going strong as well. Look forward to playing you guys, and shout out to the viewers for watching.
Yeah,
Yay,
you guys are
viewers.
awesome.
We can't have a well, we can have a show without viewers. It's just much more lonely.
Yeah, it isn't any fun.
No. Thank you very much for being on the show too, as well.
Thank you.
Sturmies, you have a shout out that will last exactly 5 seconds. So hurry.
8 seconds. Go.
I just want to give a shout out to the guy I just killed in the public test server.
Nice.
On Valiant Battle.
Did you tell him to watch the show?
He can't. He's on the other team. He didn't actually have to leave the call yet.
Whatever.
Give a shout out to my team, Brocore Gaming. They're a bunch of good guys. Of course, shout out to DLG. I love these guys. Although sometimes Demon's mean to me. Not nice.
That's all right.
My lane partner is Psycho, or Kaiko, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, because he said he was watching Beyond the Rift.
Yeah.
And he just got a kill, so
Nice.
good job.
First
Good
one.
job, man. Hell yeah.
Got to start with one.
Yep. The loneliest man.
And then also I want to give a big shout out to Smitecast, because I love them.
Yes. That is pretty
That's
much
like
where
what's up.
you can find all of the games that aren't being casted on the Smite game channel are always going to be casted on the Smitecast channel. So pretty much when a tournament goes on, turn on both of those streams and you're good. 90% of the games that we covered.
I might be on there, because sometimes I'm guest star.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
Sturmy's
I
is
was
number
supposed to do
one sub.
yesterday, but
Yeah. Sturmy's number one sub. You can sub casting, sub playing, sub pro tournament
Sub
guy.
life,
Yeah.
I'm sure. You probably go to somebody else's job, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and do it for them. Can you go to my job, please? I mean, your dad's a mechanic, so
I'll
like,
try, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
How would I get my dad to sub in for you?
Thank
'Cause
you.
guys are the same person.
Awesome. Right. That is true.
All right.
Then we'll go with Cooper.
What do you got for us, Coop?
Besides falling asleep. God.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we bored you so much.
All right. So I do this thing called Smite Network. It's a tournament website that's also going to run a bunch of community events. So it's really an all-around place. It's not just going to be for tournaments and competitive play, but it's going to be a bunch of events for shoutcasters and just general people that want to get involved in the community as well. So check that out. It's www.smitenetwork.com. We're running a huge holiday promotion right now with a bunch of giveaways. You just have to be active on the site. 10,000 gem codes, 10,000 gems total.
Worth of
sorry,
codes.
not 10,000 gem codes.
I was like, damn.
Some regular gems on a daily basis, bunch of t-shirts, and a 3-day pass to PAX East. And that's just some of the things we're giving away. So if you want to get involved in that, just go to our website and make an account. We also have a survey system where if you complete any survey that we have up at the moment, you are entered for 800 gems automatically. So just being involved in the community will get you gems. As long as you keep being involved, you'll pretty much guarantee to get gems at some point. So,
Fancy.
it's something that's coming up. We're kind of putting the tournaments on hold while all this crazy patch stuff goes on. But once it's complete, we'll get the tournaments up and running and should be fun. So, and shout out to BLG because they have me as a regular guest now and it's awesome. So
Yeah. Borderline Gaming.
I feel
Hell yeah.
sorry for them.
Yeah, me too.
Poor them.
Poor us and
Yeah.
them. All right,
you haven't
Jerbie,
left yet?
go ahead. We'll let Lion go last since he came in late.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Jervs?
I'm not gonna do a shout out to my team.
Yeah.
I hate every single one of them, and they're all scum.
Sign of a true team.
Lionheart, you really got to pick up some Rogaine. Cooper, get some sleep, man.
Yeah.
And other than that, thank you guys for letting me be on here.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Lionheart, take us away, sir.
Mr. Rogaine Lionheart, go ahead.
Oh man.
Growing that mane.
You know, I just want to thank you guys for hosting the show every week, for letting me come on here and talk to everybody. This is a great instrument, I think, for the community to be able to communicate with one another and share opinions, share feedback, and be able to bounce ideas off one another. So thank you very much for hosting the show. A big thank you, probably should have been my first thank you, actually, goes out to Hi-Res Studios for just all the effort that they do on this game and all the changes, that the time that they put in. I mean, they have people working on all sorts of stuff, you know, from the individuals who are working on game design all the way to, you know, the individuals who are making the Smite preview, the God preview that we saw today. I mean, everybody's doing really hard work. They're doing their best. And so big thank you goes out to them. Thank you to the community for supporting this game. Without you guys, there is no game. And thank you to everybody who tunes in and watches me shoutcast. You know, I'm kind of
digging that.
I mean, it's just crazy to think that how many of you will just come and hang out with me for like 7 hours while I lose my voice and try to give you good coverage. So,
Hell yeah, man.
You know, thanks a lot. And everybody, you know, keep on testing. Be patient, please, with the new systems as they get implemented. Have an open mind. Remember that people are human beings, and let's move forward. And, you know, in a couple months, we'll be laughing at how great the game is. It's, you know, we'll be looking back at this and being like, this was a good moment where the game took a turn in the right direction. And so I think that if you just get behind it and you help push it, everything's going to turn out all right. So,
you know, and also,
and shout out to the best. And Jerbie, who gives away $1 gunners on a stream. You can find him, Cronin LOL, $1 gunners.
Wow, scum!
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the holiday skins.
Yeah,
awesome. More of those. They're great. Check them out.
Can't wait to beat Santa, or beat people with a Santa candy cane.
Whoa, you're gonna beat Santa?
Yes.
Yeah, this is like super creepy Santa guy.
All tomorrow, there's like a news article about him. Man thinks world is ending, so he attacks Santa Claus.
It's definitely how the world will end.
Yes,
I agree.
The death of Santa.
that would be quite that'd be quite a world-ending thing. Santa dying.
Yes.
Santa shot down by an F-16.
All right.
Anyway,
so about ending that show.
Yeah, about ending that show.
We will see you.
What? No,
no.
You were just gonna totally no. Anyway, I'm DeamonMachine. You can find me on Twitter at DeamonMachine. You can find me on Saturday mornings here. We will be doing Saturday morning mentoring. Usually Sturmies is joining me. Last week he subbed in for me because I had things to do, and
People
so that was awesome. And what? And what was that?
People were like, "Where's Demon? Oh, she's not here. Screw it."
And then I felt so bad afterwards. I was like, "Wow, I'm sorry, Sturmies. I put you through so much hell for that."
I was just like, "I want love."
Sturmies wants love too. So if he's subbing in, you can give him the love. He's much better than I am at the game. And then Cooper will love us with his keyboard ever so much more. He loves his keyboard. And thank you all for being with us on the show.
Yeah,
thank you, Revel, for joining me every week that you do. Thank you, Cooper's Keyboard, for ever trolling me. And you can find us next week. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yes. I say check out BO Gaming. Thank you, Demon, for joining me every week on the show. Check out bogaming.com. We have guides, which are probably all going to be wiped and redone fairly soon because the game's more or less completely different than it was 2 months ago. And so we'll have new guides. We're working on a bunch of other really cool stuff on our website. Check on it for news, tournament stuff you can find. If a tournament's going on, it's pretty much going to be listed there somewhere. Check out our forums. They're lots of fun, too.
Yes.
By the way, he didn't say news. He said nudes. So if you want to see what his butt looks like.
Oh, wow. You see,
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist myself.
When you said that,
it's okay. It's okay. I work out. It's all good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us.
Stan.
No waxing though. Sorry.
Oh wow.
This needs to end now.
For all those who are watching, the VODs are usually up about 2 to 3 hours. I upload it immediately after I finish the recording. So
have a good one, guys.
Later, guys.